Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the Autism and Neurodiversity Workplace Masterclass for the corporate industry. So my name is Ben Holmes from Autism and Neurodiversity Coaching. If you've been with us the last couple of days, welcome back. If you're joining us for the first time, it's nice to meet you. I'll give a little quick recap of the last couple of days in a second anyway. Yeah, it's good to be here. If you want to use the chat, please do so. If you're watching it behind on our Facebook group, you can still comment on there. You may also be watching it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel as well. So we're going to get into day 3. So let's get going. Next slide, please. So as I've said, we're going to put these videos on YouTube so you can see them on there as well. Next slide. So some of the key points from day 2, just recap that. So autistic people aren't applying for jobs even if they want the job. Obviously some are, but there are many that just won't apply for the job because too many barriers in place there. As a result of that, your company is missing out on great employees because of job applications, CVs, the interview process, and might be a lack of social skills. They might not agree with some of the company policies that you've got, and also the environment that they're in, it might not fit their unique skill set. So a few small changes can make a big difference to the employees and your business. So a few adaptations are made so employees are supported better, they're more likely to work harder for you and want to stay with you, and therefore your profits are going to be affected in a positive way as a result of that. Now just on what we've covered so far, so the main points are basically supporting your neurodiverse employees and those with mental health conditions. If you do that properly, they're given the right support, they're understood, they're accepted, they feel like they belong in the company, then they're more likely to want to work for you, stay with you, they're more likely to be loyal. The work will, productivity wise, they're more likely to sort of do better. They're less likely to have sick days, to have days off for mental health reasons, or stress, anxiety, depression, etc. And if all that's done correctly, then your income will be impacted in a good way. Next slide. So today, sorry, my water bottle's spilling all over the place. Not ideal timing. There we go. So today we're going to be looking at other neurodiverse conditions. We're going to start off with ADHD, as you can see on the screen. So we're not going to go into complete in-depth with every single condition because we haven't got long enough to do that. We'll do future sessions where we can zone in more on each condition itself and how that can affect your employees, how you can get the best out of them as a business, improve their employee well-being, get results from them as well. So we're going to start with ADHD. So attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, is a condition that includes symptoms such as inattentiveness, hyperactivity and impulsiveness. So these are categorized into 2 types, excuse me. So one is inattentiveness. Sometimes that's referred to as attention deficit disorder, so missing out the hyperactivity part. And then the other side of it is hyperactivity and impulsiveness. So you get some people who are just the inattentive bit, the ADD, and others are the hyperactivity and impulsiveness. However, many people have both or a mixture of both. I fit into that category. So the ones who are more the second one are the more, what you'd say, obvious people with ADHD, more obvious in terms of being able to tell they've got it. So they're the ones that are more likely to get diagnosed or have discipline problems or be seen as a problem in general. On the opposite side of that, they might be more likely to thrive because they might be recognised for having those problems, but also the skill set that comes with it. So my water spilled all over the place. Full enough, I've got ADHD and I get easily distracted. So there we go. So yeah, there's two types to it. You can have a mixture. So is it a disorder? So if you listen to the talk I did on autism on day one, I discussed whether that's a disorder. Now obviously the name suggests it's a disorder, but a lot of people do disagree with that. They don't like the term disorder. It's a very negative word. It makes it sound like if you've got ADHD, then you are a problem. That's all you are. There's nothing right or good about you, which is absolutely not the case. So it can bring extreme difficulties. It can be a nightmare to live with at times. It can be really, really tough, but it can bring extreme advantages as well. Obviously, depending on how you look at it, depends your outlook on it. I do know some people with ADHD hate having it. They wish they could just be more relaxed and not have all these whizzing thoughts in the mind and want to constantly move and stuff. It really gets to them. Others love having it, and they see it as an extreme advantage in life. It can help them do things they want to do, and they can get things done quicker with more drive, etc. And some are a bit of both. One day you feel amazing, one day you feel the opposite. Next bit, or next slide should I say. So I'm going to look at some of the characteristics of ADHD. Now this isn't a fully extensive list. There's lots of different things related to ADHD. So short attention span and difficulty listening is one of the most common ones. There's various reasons for that. It's not that we're ignorant or selfish or whatever, which you may come across like that. Particularly if the second one, the hyperactivity and impulsiveness, they might be seen as they're not listening and they're not interested, which may be the case sometimes, but a lot of the time it's not. It's just that they really, really struggle to listen. Which brings me on to that point. If I carry on talking on this one for much longer, I might have lost a few people. So let's move on to the next bit. Constantly fidgeting and being restless. So I want to fidget now, not just because it's on there, just because I'm due for a little fidget. Yeah, that can cause problems, probably more so for people who haven't got the disorder. I say disorder, whatever you want to call it, which I don't see as disorder, but there you go. The condition, the thing, the different brain wiring. It can cause more problems for family members because they might get sick of seeing them fidget all the time. I know I've had that in the past where people are annoyed at me. Can't help it. We don't necessarily, no, a lot of the time we don't do it intentionally. Most of the time we don't. Probably 95% of the time we don't. It's just, we just need to move occasionally. Well, quite a bit. So there you go. Next bit. Sometimes acting without thinking. I would say that would be more the second one, the hyperactivity side of it generally. But of course it could be either. Now you don't have to have ADHD to do this sometimes. Of course, many people can fidget and not have ADHD. It's not like it's exclusive to ADHD. This is the difference that people don't always understand. They say, well, I fidget, so I must have it. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You need to have so many different things that fit into the ADHD sphere or whatever. So yeah, sometimes acting without thinking. Because I've got both, sometimes I really think about what I'm saying, other times I don't. So I suppose everyone can say that, but for me, it's because I'm autistic, that makes me think about it a lot more. But then the ADHD wants to do the opposite. Next bit. Unorganised and struggle to stay on task. Now there's a few anomalies here. So if you're autistic as well as ADHD, you can have a mixture, so you could be both really organised and really unorganised at the same time, which sounds very contradictory. People are like, well, how can that be? It's tough. It's like having two brains, I always describe it as. It's like your autism brain wants to have routine and organisation, whereas the ADHD side of me, for me particularly, I'm talking about, wants the opposite. It wants spontaneity, it wants to do random stuff all the time. Now, if you are just, I say you are just ADHD, you're more likely to really struggle with this one on a daily basis. It's easy to drift off task if you've got ADHD. Next bit, easily bored and distracted. Now this one might seem blasé, might be like, well, we all get bored sometimes, we all get distracted. With ADHD, it's painful. It is really painful when you get bored, to the point where you could be doing something that you're just not interested in, and you look at people around you, and they're not, even if they aren't necessarily enjoying it, they manage to do it, whereas it really, really bothers you, and you think, I just need to get out of here. And if you keep doing it, as in staying on the task, it can affect you. It can drain your energy levels, and it can affect you short term and long term if you constantly do it on a daily basis. Then you just have a shutdown, and you just can't deal with it. So it is really painful. So that one I want you to take on seriously. I say everyone gets bored at various times. If you're doing something you don't enjoy, you can get bored, but it's the severity of it and the extremeness is what I would say. And next bit. Talks quickly, likes to be on the go. Yeah, I've met many ADHD people who are like that. They've got too many thoughts whizzing through the brain, so they want to just get through them because they'll forget. Short-term memory issues is a big thing with a lot of people with ADHD, not everyone. So they get these thoughts in the head and they just want to get it out straight away before they forget about it, and then another one comes in. They've got 5 on the go at the same time. So it's hard to manage all those thoughts at once. Whereas a lot of people sort of have one thought at one time, then something else comes in. With ADHD, it's organised but unorganised chaos, is what I would say. Again, if you're autistic as well, a lot of autistic people, not all, a lot tend to be slower in the speech, so they're more methodical, thinking about it, whereas ADHD is the opposite, which is why you may get some people who both sometimes talk quickly and sometimes talk slowly. Now, a caveat in all of that is anxiety. If you have anxiety disorders, that can affect that massively. It can make you on speed talk, or it can do the opposite where you freeze and you can barely speak at all. Next slide. I would say next bit or slide. So with ADHD, unfortunately, some of us may make careless mistakes. You've got too many thoughts whizzing through your head. You want to do things at speed and pace, otherwise you get uninterested and bored. Your brain may just say, let's do this now, and you do it and you rush into it, and therefore it might be a mistake you're making. Next bit. Money struggles is a big one for a lot of people with ADHD. Impulse buying. They'll see, an advert flash up for something. They think, I'm just going to buy that, and that's it. They bought it and they haven't necessarily got enough money to pay for it, or they've just got enough and then they're going overdrawn or whatever. Planning can be a nightmare for ADHD. As I said, with autism can be the opposite, where they plan forever, whereas ADHD, they may make loads of plans but not be able to manage to stick to them because they've got too much on the go. Next bit. Difficulty following through with tasks follows on from what I've just said. There's too many things you want to do, so you make plans for all these sort of things, and you can find it really, really hard to prioritise what is most important. Next bit. Forgot what I meant to be doing it. Oh yeah, forgetfulness and struggles with daily tasks. So this can be a nightmare. Again, just even if you've got simple things supposedly to do. I know within the ADHD community, a lot of them struggle with like tidying the bedroom or tidying the house, cleaning, keeping on top of things, you know, washing the car, whatever. They can be they can find it really difficult to keep on top of that because they've got too many things in their head, too many things they want to do. People asking them to do all sorts of things, and it can just get on top of them. Forgetfulness, like I say, for me, short-term memory is a big thing. I notice for a lot of ADHD people. I can't remember what I'm saying here now, but I've got another thought in my head which I'm trying to block out. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people with ADHD have good long-term memory. Obviously, some just have poor memory in general, which is really hard. Next bit. Short-term memory issues. There you go. Next bit. Wanting to do everything at once and being overwhelmed. So again, it's struggling to prioritise what you're meant to be doing at any given time. You may have a lot of interests, a lot of strong, intensive interests that you can't say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. You might be like, well, I want to do that now, and I want to do that now, I want to learn to do this, I want to watch this on TV, I want to go and see friends, I've got all this work to do. There can be all these things you want to get done, and you just don't know how to sort of manage that. Next slide. So, I'm going to look at some of the strengths that are associated with ADHD that can fit in with the corporate industry. So motivation, drive and determination. So this can help to inspire others in whatever environment you're in. It could be an office-based team, a sales sort of, they could be doing a sales job and they can sort of inspire others to do better as well. They often set high targets for themselves, whether they're achievable or not, they often do. There's leadership qualities with ADHD associated with that as well. And again, this isn't a blanket thing. Not everyone with ADHD is like this, but I'm just saying these are some of the strengths we can bring in general. Next bit. Risk taking, depending on how you look at this, depending on what industry you're in. Obviously, it's not always good, but it does help in business. You have to take risks in business to get anywhere. So, by taking risks, it can make your company different to others. Innovation can be involved with that as well. Next bit. Passion and hyperfocus. You may or may not have come across the term hyperfocus. So I'll explain that in a second. You have to love what you do, but you don't have. With ADHD, it kind of is like that. If you're doing a job or something that you just really don't like, it can be a big struggle. And again, it's the extremeness. A lot of people do jobs they don't like, and they just say, well, we do it, so why can't they? Honestly, it really hurts to do something you don't want to do. And I don't mean hurt as in like emotionally, as in like it really does really get to you. So hard work equals success, obviously. Hyper focus, so they can focus intensely on a topic they enjoy or they're interested in. They can do it for a long period of time. So to completely contradict what I said earlier in the sense of getting bored, but if it's something they really enjoy, they can just go at it and sort of. Again, it's a bit of a blanket thing. Everyone's different, but a lot of ADHD people can focus on something and just say, I'm going to get this done. I'm enjoying it. It needs to get done. I'm just going to get it done. So it could be a deadline for a project that they're involved with. It could be a marketing project. Anything, whatever sort of the business of yours is, that you could give them a project and say it's going to be done by next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And then they can say, right, next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I've got to get it done by then. They might do it Tuesday and they might get it all done in one day, but the point is a lot of us can work that way. It's not advisable, but it's just how it happens sometimes. But if it's something they enjoy, they can just whiz through it faster than the average person. Whereas if it's something they don't enjoy, then they really struggle in that sense. Next bit. living in the moment. It can help put long-term plans into perspective. You know, I know a lot of, well, I've worked in the corporate industry, I've seen it firsthand, where a lot of companies will have plans and it'll be like a 5-year plan and stuff, which is great on one side of it. It is good. You can't just have a plan for tomorrow, that's it. There's no sort of long-term strategy. But at the same time, sometimes plans can take forever. And it's like sometimes you just have to do it now. What's stopping you from actually getting this done? It's like, oh well, we need to fill in all this paperwork and ring him up, ring it. There's ways, and I see how it works in corporate companies a lot of the time, not all of them, but you have to sort of ask a million people just to get a decision on something, which can be frustrating. There's ways you can work around that. You can sort of adapt, and there are ways to get things done quicker. Like I said, I'm not saying don't have a long-term strategy. That's exactly not what I'm saying. But a lot of people don't appreciate what they're doing right now. And next bit, entrepreneurism. Again, not everyone with ADHD has this talent, but there is extensive research into this that proves a lot of ADHD people can have a good business brain in terms of ideas, innovation, these things that are listed above. And next slide, a little bit. Creativity and outside the box thinkers. The outside the box thinker it's a commonly used term now, but it really does fit with ADHD, neurodiversity in general, because we're different by nature. We're going to have different outlooks, opinions, perspective, etc. It might be random with stuff. It might seem like, what the hell are they on about? But some of the ideas will be rubbish. You know, it's not every idea we'll come up with will be great. But we could come up with 10 ideas and 2 of them could be great, whereas another person might not come up with any. So, next bit, slide. So, some of the struggles associated with ADHD fitting with the corporate world. We touched on careless mistakes earlier. Again, this is not good in any sort of industry if that happens. So it's about harnessing that talent. They may start tasks before finishing previous ones, again, because they need a hit of dopamine. They need something, like they might be, I'm bored with this one now, I need something new. But then it's reminding them, saying, look, you need to get this one done first. You've got till tomorrow at 12 o'clock to do it. Right, okay, I get it done then, and then you can focus on the next one. So just keeping them on track. Next bit. I think my bottle's actually leaking. I don't know how. I've got a hole in the bottle. It's all over the floor now. Don't know how that's happened. Just going to drink a bit for the sake of it. So there we go. Just mix it up a bit as well. Getting bored. Repetitive actions may be hard for them. Next bit. Frustration. This is a big one with ADHD. Getting angry at themselves happens a lot because you set yourself all these goals and you want to do loads of different things. Then if you can't get them done, you get really angry with yourself. May dislike low standards. A lot of people do have low standards even if they don't think they have. It's just how it is. Sort of just ambling through life and not really thinking about what they're doing, just like, I'm just getting through life. That can be a problem. People with ADHD, they might want some energy, that sort of thing. Next bit. Impatient. I think I have a bit of this, to be fair. May find team meetings frustrating if there's no substance to them. I've been involved in quite a lot of team meetings where I've just been like, what's the point in this? Why are we even doing this? Just here for the sake on it, really. And it's nice to see people, it's nice to see colleagues, your managers, people you work with, etc., friends. It is good to do that. But then sometimes there's team meetings where it's just, you'll have an agenda and stuff and it's just ticking a box. I do know this goes off in the corporate world. I've seen it quite numerous times. So I'm not saying all meetings are pointless. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying some of them are. I've seen it. And this can cause frustration because it could be like, I could be doing something better with my time here. But yeah, you have to have team meetings for various reasons. So I'm not saying scrap it. I'm just saying think about what you're actually doing in the team meetings. Is it providing value to everyone? Next bit. Sometimes seen as arrogant. I might have done just then, to be fair, I don't know. May be confident in their skills and attributes, abilities, and this may come across as arrogant. Again, I would say that fits in more with the hyperactivity and impulsive side, as opposed to the inattentive side of it. There's a lot of ADHD businessmen, women who have got ADHD and sort of come across as being arrogant or really confident in themselves. So there's that fine line, isn't it? Next bit. Being chained to a desk. When I get to the end of these calls, I'm struggling. I need to get up straight away. I could do with getting up now and go for a walk, to be honest with you. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, being chained to a desk, may struggle sitting for long periods of time. It aches. It really aches to be sat down for ages. I'd rather do like an hour run than sit down for like 3 hours. Yeah. So yeah, it can be a struggle. Next bit. So obviously, in that sense, if you're in an office, and you expect to sit down all day, it's not the best. Just let them go for a walk 5 minutes every hour or so. They'll be more productive, way more productive for you. Which might go against your company policy. It's like, well, everyone's got to stay sat down until they have the break and stuff. But I'd say, would you rather get more quality work done and more income made? That'd be my argument with that one. So on to dyspraxia, another one of the conditions I have. This one does me head in. I really struggle with this one, to be fair. Whereas ADHD, it's sort of, for me, it's the best thing in the world, but also the worst thing in the world. Whereas dyspraxia gives me a lot of funny things to talk about, but it limits me and hinders me in many ways. So let's look at the main features of dyspraxia. A lot of people haven't heard of this still. Most people have heard of autism, ADHD, dyslexia, even if they don't know what it is. Whereas dyspraxia is like, oh, what's that? I've never heard of that. I get that quite a lot. It's like, oh, I've got dyspraxia, and then they just think you're just making something up. Very frustrating, to be fair, because if you genuinely can't do something because of it, people just don't believe you, which is frustrating. And if you've got ADHD, you're going to get even more frustrated with it. So, main features of dyspraxia are related to motor skills, which is movement. So they're broken down into fine motor skills and gross motor skills. So I'll explain both of those in a second. You can also have a mixture of both. So you may, like with the ADHD, with having the hyperactivity or the inattentiveness, it can be the same with this. You can have a mixture of both. People who have dyspraxia often find the routine tasks of daily life, such as driving, cooking, household chores, grooming, things like that, difficult. Not all those things. Some do. They can also find coping at work is really hard. And people with dyspraxia usually have a combination of problems. So let's delve into that now. I've got a river at the bottom of my desk, a bottle. Can't wait to mop that up in a bit. I'll probably get too bored to do it, to be fair, and do it later and then slip on it and break my leg or something. But yeah, gross motor skills and fine motor skills. What on earth are they? So, gross motor skills, some of the struggles related there. So, are balance, posture, integrating the two sides of the body, hand-eye coordination, rhythm, being clumsy, general movement, changing direction when you're walking or running, and then stopping and starting actions. So some of these pictures are related to that. So a lot of people with dyspraxia struggle to drive, doing multiple things at once. You've got to change gears, you've got to turn the wheel. A lot of people with gross motor issues struggle with throwing and catching a ball, doing sports like netball, things like that. they might struggle with basketball. Riding a bike, many people with dyspraxia can't ride a bike. Dancing can be a big problem, like you integrate moving all your body at the same time and sort of all in a rhythmic way. And then fine motor skills, so that's manual dexterity, two-handed tasks, manipulation skills, inadequate grasp and grooming activities. So these fine motor skills are more what I call fiddly things, for me at least. Anything where you've got to do two-handed tasks, so you've got to hold one thing in one hand and do something else with your other hand. You can sort of do one but not the other. You're like, right, I've done that bit in one hand, and I can do this one in the other hand, but doing it together I struggle with. It's that sort of thing. Handwriting is a big one with dyspraxia. Sort of gripping the pen too hard, putting all your fingers right at the bottom of the pen and gripping it and not being able to move your hand properly whilst you're writing can be a big issue. Anxiety can be related to that as well. You're that worried about the pen dropping out of your hand that you grab it for your life, and that's how you write, and it aches to write. Many struggle with grooming activities, sort of shaving or whatever, looking at the mirror at the same time as doing it. Many can manage to do it and get through it, but might not necessarily do it the same as anyone else. Tying shoelaces is usually a big one associated with dyspraxia. Even though many can tie the lace, they might do it later in life. Again, it's using both hands, sort of doing a fine skill. In terms of the corporate world, we'll give some examples in a minute. So next slide. In fact, I'll try and remind myself here. I think we've got some examples in a minute. I think we have. If we haven't, then I'll go through some. So characteristics of dyspraxia: may struggle with speech as well. A lot of people don't realise that's related to dyspraxia. They may talk continuously. They may struggle organising sequences, so thinking in the brain what word comes next. They may jumble words up. I do it occasionally. Trying to do an example here. I'll probably do it in a bit without realising. But yeah, if you see two words together, you might get ahead of yourself and mix the two words up. Which I know anyone can do that and does that sometimes, but it is definitely a thing with dyspraxia as well. Unable to pronounce certain words. Eye movements, so following and moving objects smoothly can be a problem. I often do this one, losing the place whilst reading. Again, the ADHD comes into it for me, the boredom side of it and distraction. But it's hard if you're reading a book. It's hard to follow it along. If you're not intently following each word, if you just drift off for a second, you're like, oh, where's my bit? I can't find it. It can be hard to do that. And poor relocating skills. And next bit. Perception relating to different senses. So poor visual perception, oversensitive to lights, background noises, similar to autism here. Undersensitive to touch, again similar to autism. Smells and tastes, may struggle with that, having strong smells. Spatial awareness issues is a massive one for dyspraxia. I think it's both gross and fine. We sort of struggle with it. You might see a lot of people with dyspraxia sort of bump into doors, bump into people, or they might do the opposite. They might give too much room, and people might be like, why are they standing 10 foot apart? Just because of that, worried about banging into someone, because they can't get the spatial awareness right. Little sense of time, so they might struggle with just losing track of time. Speed, not being able to predict how fast things are. Distance and weight is a big one as well. They can be big issues with dyspraxia. inadequate sense of direction, so getting lost when other people wouldn't, is a massive thing with the dyspraxia. Next bit. I wonder how many water's getting out of the bottle. I'll find out in a bit. Yeah. Thoughts and memory, difficulty with planning and organising thoughts. Again, similar to ADHD, poor short-term memory, and there's a lot of overlaps with dyspraxia and ADHD, the mental side of it. So poor short-term memory, issues with maths or reading can be an issue. For some with dyspraxia, accuracy problems like copying movements can be a difficult one. If I remember doing dance at school, I didn't choose to, it was optional. I think that's the same thing. It was mandatory, not optional. That's the one. Hated doing it, particularly here I grew up in as well. It wasn't something me and my friends did really, but we had to do it in PE for a period. And I could never do any move. I weren't interested anyway, but I couldn't do the movements. If there were more than 3 movements, I'd be like, well, no point even bothering trying to remember that, because I can't. Concentration issues. What's happening with writing here? God. Moya. May struggle to do more than one thing at a time. Slow to finish a task. Moya. So I'm distracted with that now. So yeah, may struggle to do more than one thing at a time. Slow to finish a task, such as getting through 4 sentences, 4 lines. Next bit. Emotion and behaviour, difficulty listening in large groups. Again, same with autism, too many background noises, distractions, not being able to listen to someone while other people talking around them. Slow to adapt at times, can be impulsive and erratic as well. Next bit. Dyspraxia strengths, there we go, within the corporate industry. So similar to ADHD, leadership, they can make great managers or directors. Thinking differently, having determination, wanting to aspire to things can be all leadership skills. Next bit. Empathy, can understand others' struggles. For people who have got too much work on, they might be able to empathise with that and say, I can help you out with that. They might be able to better understand other people's points of view. So they might be like, well, I can see where you're coming from, I can see where you're coming from. How about we meet in the middle and we do this? Next bit. Strategy. So, obviously businesses need to keep coming up with new plans, new ways forward, strategies, etc. Oh, I'm just going to turn my camera off. If that's causing any fits for anyone. So yeah, coming up with new plans and visions. Next bit. Here we go again. Brilliant stuff. Right, let's turn that off for a few minutes. Problem solving. So I've solved a problem there. I've turned the camera off, solved the problem. But I have a new problem in a minute when people are, I can't see you, I need to see your face. Don't know why, but there we go. Business planning. Being able to implement, come up with new systems can be a real bonus for the workforce as well. If something's gone wrong at work, you've had loads of customers complaining about something, they can find ways around that and say, okay, nothing we can do about that. How can we move forward? How can we, apologise to customers, make sure they're feeling happy and that the situation's being resolved. Next bit. Determination and resilience. So driven to get results, can overcome setbacks as well, which is a real asset to have. Obviously, in your working life, there are always going to be things that go wrong or don't go to plan, and they can better overcome those setbacks sometimes. Next bit. Enthusiasm and passion. A lot of them will care about the work. They might want to really help others out as well, so they're not just in it for themselves. Again, this is a blanket term. So everyone's like this, but many people with dyspraxia are. They really want to help others. They want to see others thrive as well. They can pass their knowledge on to others. If they've learned some skills, they've implemented some systems at your workplace, they might be able to pass up that on to others as well. So if you've got a new member of staff, they might be happy to sort of take them under the wing and train them up and help them, whereas some other people wouldn't. Next bit, creativity, different ideas and outlooks, again thinking outside the box. Next bit, noticing small details, maybe able to spot errors or things that colleagues have said, which can help the business. If you've I don't know, say if you've told a customer the price for something is X, and they've told it slightly wrong, a few pence off or something, they might be able to spot that and say, oh, it's actually this, and correct the error. Next bit. Apologies, we're flashing again. It's not as good. Just when the sun shines through. Practical tasks. Now, this is all related to struggles within the corporate industry for dyspraxia. Again, this isn't a blanket approach. Doesn't fit everyone. So practical tasks may struggle using equipment. So if you're in an office, you've got a printer, you've got a scanner, they may struggle using them. They may just need a bit of support. They might just say, how do I use this? They may have used a printer before, but if it's a different model to the one they've used in a different workplace or the one they've got at home, that can throw them off. Whereas a lot of people sort of can adapt and they'll be like, well, it's a printer, it prints, you just have to click a few buttons and that's it. Whereas dyspraxia can be, well, I've not seen this printer before. The last one I had, you pressed this button and this button. Whereas with this one, you've got to do something different. Can you help me? So again, all you have to do is just help them with that and not sort of belittle them or sort of say, oh, I can't believe you can't do that. It's just a printer. How can you not print something off? Yeah, it can be a big issue. So I'm going to turn it off again. Not bad. So, shutting blinds can also be an issue. Again, it's that fine motor skill. But if you show them how to do it, they might be able to do it. It's just that they might not instinctively know, and therefore just avoid it at all costs. Even if you show them, they still might not be able to do it properly. So bear it in mind and just help them out with that, or just say, look, don't worry about doing it. There's lots of other things. It could be using a staple gun. When I was replacing the staples in the staple gun, I'd just go and get another staple. But if there were like a few in the office and mine had run out, I'd just go and get another one. But yeah, it might struggle with stuff like that. Hole punches, that's probably easier to do, I would imagine. But again, they might struggle with things like that. Knowing where to go. If they're wanting to get new stock from the stock cupboard, they may... sorry, my camera's acting